What's exciting about the craft beer industry in New Jersey is it's growing. There was a sort of a lull. I mean, there was a lot of them that started getting up and running in like 95, 96. 94, 95, 96 were like sort of like a genesis years. And you added some breweries along the way, and then we hit like this 10-year dead spot where nothing, there were no more, no new openings of any, brew pub or production brewer. But right in the last 12 months, we've had, I think it's either seven projects, in the works. So there's growth now when there hadn't been for a long time. And what's interesting about the growth is people are doing it in a different direction. Back in the mid-90s, their mindset was they had to start with, say, like a 10-barrel, brew house, 15, 20-barrel brew house, go big, or try to get into being a brew pub, which means you have to have the consumption license, which means you're getting it from the town or somebody who already has one, and that's quite expensive and along the order of six figures. But you have like the nano brewers, which is the trend across the country, and these are people who are doing it on a very small scale, looking to create niche markets, and there's no logic in staying at that size because it's a lot of work to make beer, but it's a foot in the door without breaking your bank.
My name is Brian Ciriaco. I'm co-founder of the company and wear many hats: sales, marketing, finance, janitor.
Yes. I'm John Merklin, also a co-founder of East Coast Beer Company.
Yeah, we were in high tech. We actually were in sales. We were selling telecommunications equipment, and as we've said, we were traveling all over the world. I was from Canada down to the bottom of South America. John was out in Russia and Europe. One of the things that we would do is we always had this interest in craft beer right from the beginning, but traveling gave us this opportunity to experience beers in all the places that we used to hit up during our travels for the technology company.
I was on a flight and I was reading a book called Beer School, which is written by the founders of Brooklyn Brewery. And the whole thing that facilitated that company was the fact that they lived in Brooklyn, this world-renowned place, and there wasn't a single beer company left at that time. And I immediately thought, we live at the shore, which is a place that not only people live here year-round. It's been written about in songs, it's been in movies, it's been in TV shows, but it certainly was missing here. So I went right away to Brian. We're high school buddies and stuff, and right then I said, I kind of identified. I said, hey, this is something we can kind of turn a passion into a profession. Beer's always been a passion of ours, and that was really the start of it. Yeah, so contract brewing, we're actually taking the approach very similar to Sam Adams and Brooklyn. Again, using those guys as the models. Basically, we take beers that we develop, our recipes, and we go to a contract facility which allows us to brew large batches of beer at an establishment that's already making tons of beer. And what's good is you get to take advantage of all the higher end equipment and their better practices, and you get a real very consistent product. And at the same time, we could focus on building the brand, building the company.
We're hopefully going back to something that was great in the past, where communities were people embraced each other in communities and enjoyed things that were unique to those specific areas. And I think craft beer is one of those things that brings people back to the point where especially nowadays, where everything is internet, Facebook, email. It's one of those communal type things that you can enjoy something that's from the area, and hopefully support some guys like us that are trying to develop a new company.
Yeah, I mean, just to build on that, I think variety is the spice of life, in so many different ways. And actually, going back to even our past lives, I used to find it so crazy that I'd fly 12 hours to one country to sell those folks some product I was repping, and I'd meet a guy at an airport who was flying 12 hours the opposite way to come to this town to sell us his product. And I just think it'd be nice to get local again. I think everything got so spread out and so distant. And that was one of the things we talked about. We look around at all the bars and folks were drinking something foreign. I don't mean something from Germany or from UK. But it was all coming from out west. And to us, I think it's important to have some regional identity. Again, not because it's better, but just simply to have the diversity.
Beer is more than just a drinking experience. It's a social experience. You usually have a beer with a friend, or usually talk about a beer that you tried to somebody else, or you may even write about a beer that you tried. You enjoy it with other people in some fashion.
Yeah, right now we're going to do a pretty major expansion. We were hoping to expand into our existing building, but that didn't work out, so we just put an offer in that was accepted on a building a few miles from here, and hopefully by this time next year it's going to be about 3 to 4 times the size of what we have, so we're going to have a lot bigger equipment and be able to do a lot more styles. Like I said, right now we're kind of restricted with our capacity. We can't try to do too many seasonals or different beers, and it'll be nice. We'll be able to do a variety of new styles.
There has been a lot of talk over the years about opening a Triumph in Red Bank, and there's been even more talk about it again here recently, so maybe that's going to happen one of these days.
Sure. So we're brewing a couple different style ales right now, and we even have a dark lager we're going to release. In fact, I'm rather proud to say our next release is going to be a fall-winter seasonal called Beach House Winter Rental. So again, it's going to build on the brand, but it's also something very familiar. Again, we spent all this time investing in building the Beach House brand. We think it's a natural continuation of that.